Good morning and welcome to a special episode of Coffee and Craps with John from Pro Craps here on Casino Gaming TV. Today, I'm actually not live. This is a pre-recorded episode, but I think it's going to be one of our best ones yet. What I'm going to do is break down some slow motion video of myself tossing. Now, I've been doing this helicopter toss for a few months now. I've been doing it for a year and a half or so, but I've been hardcore practicing for a few months. And I want to show you what it looks like under the microscope. I made some assertions a while back with what the physics of this throw are. Now I finally got some quote unquote proof to show you what it looks like under intense slow motion. Now again, I'm not great at this toss, but it's good to see that things are potentially possible the way that I described them. So before I get to the slow motion, let me go to the table here and I want to show you again and remind you how the toss is supposed to work. And then we'll look at the slow motion and see how close I got to making it actually work. Here we go. All right, let's go here. Light on. Okay, so what I've been doing, let's try again. What I've been doing is throwing a stacked toss, and I've been taking the set where I've got essentially the hard way set, what you would normally say is your hard way set, 6 on the left, 4s on top. And I stack it up like this. So what I'm seeing when I look down at my dice are the 1 and the 1, like this. And what I do when I throw them, actually, is this. I grab them, here they are in smaller view. I grab them by the points. So I grab them by here, by the points, like so. And when I throw them, I sort of flick my wrist or flick my fingers. And it makes them spin horizontally in the air, like this, towards the back wall. Now, when they hit the back wall, normally what I expect to see is because they're both flying in that same configuration, they don't flip around at all in the air. They fly straight. Matter of fact, when they land, I expect them to be spinning when they land and have the 1s still facing up when they land. I expect them to bounce into the wall with the 1 still facing up and spin off the wall with the 1 still facing up. And at that point, they probably start rolling over and doing their thing. What I'm hoping to do with this toss is use the spinning effect, right? That gear effect that you get from the spin to sort of keep them on that flat plane into the wall, hit a diamond wherever it wants to hit it, and keep on going that way. And use that sort of that left hand or that clockwise momentum that it has, or that gyroscopic effect to keep them kind of where they are until they hit the second time on the ground. And that's what I want to see. Can I get them to hit the wall and come back down with a 1 still showing? And then we'll see what happens after that. The idea is that I throw them with enough quote unquote energy control that when that second hit happens, they don't go rolling all over the place like maniacs. They roll over, they stay where they are. They roll over once or twice or whatever. And I keep kind of the 1s and 6s or the tops and bottoms, whatever they happen to be, more often than not showing up. So that means, 1s and 6s are whatever. But if I were to change a set to 5s on top, then I could potentially see more 5s and more 2s as the dice come to rest. And a 2 and a 4 becomes a 6. And if 1 works and 1 doesn't, then we're in good shape. That's what I'm looking for, right? I'm trying to keep these things spinning as best as I can, horizontally clockwise, into the wall, off the wall, back down again. If I can do that and control how many times by energy, not by anything else, how many times they may roll over, we may have something here. That's the idea of the helicopter toss, the way that I throw it. Okay, I throw 2 varieties of this toss. One is going to be a little higher, a little harder, and a little deeper. So they're going to land kind of in this section, right, more towards this back corner here. On my big table, it'll be landing on the don't pass, effectively. There's a lot of bounce into the wall. I find that those throws are more random, looking under the microscope, but I seem to be getting better results out of them. I think it's because they spin so fast. The gyroscopic, that movement helps me. The other version of it is a slower and lower version where they kind of land. You'll see them on the camera on this side of the table. They'll hit more in the field area, and they'll tumble 2 or 3 times into the wall and hit and kind of die here at the end. So we're going to look at probably 5 or 6 shots. I'm going to show you some of the worst ones that I have found in my set and some of the best ones. You can see that when this is wrong, it's really freaking wrong. And when it's right, it's really right. I want you to see that There is some hope in what I'm trying to do, but there's also disaster abound if it goes south. So anyway, recapping, that's what I'm trying to do. Let's look at the slow motion video and see how close I got to making what I just said possible actually happen. Okay, the way this is going to work is this. I'm going to actually run through a bunch of videos here. When you see black dice, the black dice will be the ones that are kind of the higher, longer, deeper ones that are having much more spin. They'll appear to be more out of control to us as we do this thing. And then I'll switch and we'll show some white dice. And the white dice are the ones that are thrown lower, still high rate of spin, but they're a lower and slower speed. And let's just break down a few things that we see here. And as we call them out, we call them out. And again, there's a couple that I know I want you to see because they're just interesting to talk about. So I'm going to kind of zip through and sort of find those things. And as we do, I'll go ahead and speed them up and slow them down for us. Here we go. Let's look at the first one here. This is one. And that's a high and deep shot. It's going to hit towards the end here, right in front of the don't pass. Now watch the one on the left. See that, how it's spinning clockwise the whole time? It hits the back wall, but because it was spinning when it left my hand, it hits that back wall and it keeps that sideways spin. And watch it, pretty much you see the number one active the whole time. I'm going to let it play through here again and watch it. It's going to hit the wall and boom, the one stays up almost the whole time. At the very end, we crush over and it becomes a 4, right? So because it's coming harder into the wall, right? The energy off the wall is tough to manage, but that's interesting to see that horizontal spin kind of do what I expect it to do on that shot. Let's go find. Okay, this one is going to show you what the kiss of death looks like. I'm always talking about what a nightmare it is when the dice kiss and how as soon as they touch, all bets are off. It's a random throw. No matter what control you thought you had, it's out the window. Watch how disastrous it is when the dice touch each other at any point. Here comes the dice. They're going to land here in a minute. Watch this. Boom. Look at that thing just go flying into the wall, and it sends it all the way back up into the 9. Now, it lands on a 1. I probably said when I threw this, oh, good shot. It's a 1. That was a nightmare. That was a total train wreck. If they touch it all, forget about it. That thing, look at that. Look at that thing again. That's just, it's incredible how much, watch this thing, boom, it spins over about 30 times when it gets hit. So when the dice touch, no bueno, no matter what kind of toss you're doing, when they touch, and you'll see this a number of times coming forward, nothing you can do about it. That's going to be a disaster almost every time, zero control there. Okay, here again is going to be a shot where I probably felt like when I threw it, it was okay. The result wasn't terrible, but watch this. They don't land flat. They weren't spinning well when they landed, and it's a disaster. So this is going to be me thinking that I have some control, having absolutely no control at all. Watch, they're going to hit. They don't keep the sideways spin going at all. Completely random. Both die show multiple tops and bottoms multiple times. It ends up as a 617, and that's because I had nothing to do with the result there. That was a completely disastrous shot. Didn't land flat, weren't spinning, hit the back wall too hard, and lo and behold, it's an ugly result and an ugly throw under the microscope. Okay, here's another one. Again, this is the high deep throw. I want you to watch the left die here. I think the left die keeps its rotation good, but it hits the underside of a diamond, I think, and that sends it off. This is a case where I did everything kind of right, but the diamonds did their job and destroyed the shot. But watch how it goes into the wall. At least it hits the wall kind of the way that I expected it to. So watch this thing come in. Look at the die on the left specifically here. Spinning, the one's up, and then it goes boom. It hits like the underside of a diamond and it rolls over twice. The other one is still rolling, right? That thing just hit funny. And again, I feel like one of the die is always under control for me. The other one is not. This is a case where, again, it spun nice, right? You can, again, we'll watch it again. It spins good. The one stays up the whole time, hits the wall perfectly, but bottom of the diamond flips it over before it gets to keep spinning, and we lose it. So there's again, the chopper toss, the horizontal spin toss is so fragile, right? That spin works until it doesn't. And here's a case where the alligator wall did exactly what the casino paid it to do. Okay, here's another one that's a complete train wreck. This is pretty funny. Again, the dice kiss, it's the kiss of death. Watch what the dice kissing, even lightly, does to them. We're gonna lose one completely. Check this out. Here they come, boom. They kiss, they both go all over the place. That one just almost never stops. It looked like it had sideways spin, like I did my thing. No, that was the other die literally hitting it. And here it is again, just boom, destroying it. I mean, that's ridiculous. It had spin and it made it worse when they hit. So the kiss of death is a real thing. All right, we're gonna switch to some white dice now. The white dice are looking to land down by the field. So down like by the 11 to 12 in that area, and sort of maybe bounce once again into the wall. So it's gonna hit, skip, like 2 bounces into the wall, trying to keep that spin going. This is a much harder way to shoot it. This is how Cashier's Cage does it. It's a lower shot, and you're looking to have them hit the wall very, very lightly. The other shot I showed you, there's a high rate of spin. This one, I want to keep the spin a little bit less and have them sort of skip into the back wall super light. Let's watch a couple of white dice, lighter toss, lower throw. Interesting difference in how you see them react. Here comes one. You can see they're spinning to the right. Now they kiss of death there at the end, but look at how slowly they hit the wall there, right? So part of my job got done, whereas they hit lightly, they hit the back wall lightly, they landed kind of together, but every face was showing on those dice because they didn't hit flat. They weren't spinning hard enough, they didn't hit flat enough. So when they hit, instead of skipping into the wall like I would expect, watch how they kind of just roll over immediately. They're gonna start flipping. As soon as they hit the deck, boom, they're flipping all over the place. No control. There's no spin left in that throw, so I consider that a completely lost throw for me right there. Here's one that I find really encouraging. This is one, I don't know what it ends up at, but I want you to watch the die on the right. Watch it. It's not spinning fast enough, but it's almost perfect. Check it out. Watch the die on the right side here as it hits the wall. It's gonna come in here, right there. See that one there, how it ends up on the right side? That one was showing the entire way through. I'm gonna rewind that again. Let's watch that one more time. It hits first. The other die kind of jumps right over it, so we avoid the kiss of death. But watch this thing, watch the one on that die right there. The one is on top the entire way to the wall. It hits the wall, it's still up, and it just kicks over to the 6, okay? That's a perfect shot. Like, to me, that proves to me that I can do this, right? When I see the dice spinning off the deck, it's a nice flat hit. The one stays up and it rotates into the wall, hits the wall super light, and it's still rotating on the one when it hits the deck the second time. It just hits it hard enough to roll over one half time. In other words, we go to the 6 with it. That, to me, is the ideal shot. That's what I'm looking for. And I see a shot like that and I go, if I can do it once, I can do it more often. I'm just not good enough to replicate that, but I know that it's possible. Let's take a look at what did the other die do? I didn't even look at the other. I was so excited about the one, I missed the other die. What did the second one do? Let's see. It's going to hit here, and let's see what it does. It's going to hit. It's just tumbling, right? That one had no control at all. It's the one on the right that's kind of exciting to me. So, all right, that was the first night. Let me go switch videos here. We'll look at another set. Okay, here we are again. This is going to be a set of. This is the next night. This is the black dice. So this is the higher, deeper throw. This one works out kind of okay on the one. I think it's the die on the right that I want to pay attention to here. The one on the right doesn't spin super hard. I think the spins kind of stops it when it hits the deck the first time. But watch the one. Watch the one on the right. It's not a perfect throw by any means, but it does demonstrate that throw also, even coming in with a little higher velocity, I can get close to where I want to now. I think there's not enough spin on this set, but check out the one on the right. Again, watch the one stay up. See, the one is up and it's spinning to the right. It hits a bad part of the diamond and comes back off, right? So we're gonna get too many rollovers after the fact, but again, this is the one toss that I keep telling you. I know most of the time when I throw it this way, the 6 will be on the deck when it hits, and the 1's going to be up when it hits that back wall. It's all about keeping the spin going after the back wall hit. That's the secret to this toss, but that's an interesting one. Let's move forward and see if I can find another good one from the blacks, and then we'll go back to the shorter throw again. Just for full disclosure, here's another one that is a bad shot. They did not spin well, clearly. They didn't land well. And you'll see that this is pure random. They just went flying into the wall. There was zero control had there. So, most of the time, if you're a DI, and it looks like that's a great landing, right? Hard 6, we're all happy about that. But disastrous throw. Just not good mechanics, not good anything about that one, but I thought I'd show it to you just so that you can see. I'm not claiming to be any kind of an expert here, but that's what happens when it's an awful one. Even though the landing looked nice. All right, here's another one. Again, this is a higher, deeper, harder throw. Watch, I think this is the one on the left that works well here. So again, watch the spin of that die. Again, both die aren't working right. Sometimes I get them both to spin, sometimes I don't. It's all about the release. Watch the left one here spin and watch the one stay up. Watch how long the number one stays visible to the top. Watch this, here it comes in. The one's up, it spins off the wall perfectly, and it's still spinning, still up until the last minute. Then it kind of clicks over there. And I say like energy control, that's perfect, right? It hits the wall spinning, it comes down, it's spinning. The one is still up the whole time through, just like you drew it up. Again, that's the gyropics or the gyroscopic, like that spin rate, whatever you want to call it, that makes that thing work that way, right? Then when it lands, the second hit on the table is where you lose control here, not the diamond. That one, the diamond helped us, not hurt us. Interesting how that works out, right? So that was a good, you see me tapping the stick there, that was a great shot. I was happy with that one. That's exactly what you're looking for on those dice to spin that way. You see that thing come off the wall like that, and it's just a beautiful thing when it works. And again, it works for me a few small percentage of the time. That's the point of practicing. So, all right, let's look at some more in here. Here's another one where, again, the left die behaves most of the way through. Again, and we lose control of it after it hits the deck the second time, but off the wall, it's still pretty good. Watch the left one here. One is still up and it's spinning off the wall and it's still spinning, and then we lose it. It hits the deck the second time and it goes away. The other one, again, tumbles in that one direction. It doesn't really tumble on the points, it tumbles on the edge. And you want an edgewise tumble, not a points tumble. So anyway, there's that one. That's a pretty good throw right there, actually. This one's also interesting because I don't get the right result. Like the one doesn't stay up, but I want you to watch the die on the right. It's going to be a 5. Watch the one on the right, how the spin off the back wall works. This is kind of interesting. It doesn't stay up as a 1, but watch how that horizontal, that clockwise spin stays on the die. Watch this thing stay in spin, and as it comes to a stop, it doesn't roll over. Like the spin in this case here keeps it on the face. Check it out. The one on the right is the one I want you to look at here. Right there, hits the wall, boom, and watch that 5. It stays on the 5 the entire way, and it even lands on it. Isn't that cool? Again, that's because it's spinning so fast that even though we lost the 1 on top, the spin rate was so high that it stayed on the spin, and it actually kind of settled to a stop, almost slide style. It kind of skids to a stop there. Interesting, right? Again, if I could have kept the 1 up, that would have been a great shot. As it turns out, the action and the physics of that die is what I'm interested in. And again, it gives me hope that there's some truth to the physics of what we're trying to do with this horizontal toss. All right, now this one's going to be interesting. This one is going to look to the naked eye. So when I saw this shot live, I was like, wow, great shot, even though it wasn't a 1 or a 6 up. The end result looks beautiful. I'm going to run it through a couple times. Just look where the dice end up here. First, I'm going to run it through kind of at a little quicker speed here. Boom, they're going to go bam, and they land. Look at that. They landed. Look how perfect that landing is. They hit the wall. Boom, right? Watch it in slow-mo, though. Watch what happens to these things in slow motion. This looked like a great shot when I threw it, but check out the reality of this throw, right? Neither one of them are staying on the spin, and they hit twice on the end of it. They actually clicked twice right after the wall, and the one landed on top, the second one. It looks like a perfect keep them married kind of a landing with a whatever. I was happy about that when I threw it. Horrible shot under slow motion. Like that's a case where like your eyes will 100% deceive you. We'll do it again. There's like no redeeming qualities about this shot. Like they don't land where I want them to land. They aren't spinning when they land properly. They're just tumbling around, and they even hit twice. And like I said, I was probably happy with it when I first saw it, but damn, under the lens, not a good shot. Energy control was great. Nothing else about that thing was any good. We say the chopper is like a man maker kind of a shot. You really gotta, it's a frustrating shot. This is one of those frustrating shots where I thought it was good and it turns out it was not that great at all. And again, here's another one where the shot seems like it's okay. I get my 1s and my 6s and I'm kind of happy about it, I think, when I threw it. But again, watch the action here. It didn't really do anything that it was supposed to do. Like, there's not the right spin off the bounce here. The action off the back wall isn't what look at that. They're just tumbling. There's zero spin control here at all. Now that one lands on a 1, but really, I don't think it was under very good control. If I watch that thing hit on let's watch the deck again. Hits the deck here, and I don't think that 1 stays up. No, it tumble. Now it's spinning, right? So it looked to the naked eye like it was probably okay. In reality, there's a completely random outcome right there. Okay, here again, when I'm talking to Cage about this shot, I say to him a lot of times, I don't understand. Like, you've seen a couple here where I've got the spin coming on these low shots, but sometimes I call it the trickle in, where they are, I say I baby them too much. And I say if I baby them too much, they trickle into the wall. And he says to me, well, it's better to trickle in than hammer it, right? Here's a case where you can see where I hit him, I think, a little too slow. We don't get the spin action that we want to. Watch this thing. They're going to hit the wall really slow, which is kind of nice. Better than the train wreck, but is it? Because watch how many times these things roll over on their way to the back wall. So I think there's this kind of a butter zone between hitting them too hard against the back wall and hitting them too softly here. Watch this. They tumble, because the spin wasn't right? Now they barely kiss the back wall. Both of them touch it, but barely, which is nice. They stay kind of close together, which is nice. But again, there was zero control given to those dice at all. That spin that I did, the chopper spin, had nothing to do with what you just saw. So I call that one a random mistake by me. 3-1-4, but wasn't a good toss. This one's going to be interesting too. Watch the one on the right here. Again, this one's going to end up, I think, on a 4 or something like that. But it lands kind of cockeyed. So it's spinning pretty good and hard. But the 1 doesn't stay up, but it does stay on the side. You'll watch the 1 here. I'll do it a couple times for you. The 1 faces the right side wall the whole time. So check out what the spin does to this one. Even though it doesn't stay horizontally spinning, watch what happens as it hits the wall. It's going to hit the wall with some forward spin, which is another kind of shot that I've practiced. Watch the action here. Check this thing out. Watch the one on the right. The 1 is up for now. Now it goes, and the 1 is on the side the whole time. It tumbles straight into the wall with that 1 on the side. Let's rewind it again and look at again, the action on the 1 on the right side here. Watch this thing. The 1 stays up for a second, and now it's going to tumble, but it's straight on tumble. The 1 stayed pointing to the right the entire way through that whole thing, and it hits the wall with forward spin, and that makes it stay put when it lands. Okay, it ends up falling over on its face and becoming a 6. So end result there was good, even though the shot didn't land very flat. The left-hand die is a disaster, right? But the right-hand die, I think, takes an interesting pathway to the wall. And again, does it exert control? No. But it does show me that the spin had something to do with the outcome. The way that it's spinning has an effect. So I think that's just interesting to see. Here's the black dice again. Again, high, hard throw. Different spin rate, different everything. This one, I think, looked good to me when I threw it, but you'll see here under the slow-mo, it doesn't look really good. The dice lose their horizontal spin completely. Now, they do hit nice and soft, right? And they look like they're spinning at the end, but really that was happenstance. That was not under control. Again, this throw requires a little bit of perfection. You get lucky like this sometimes, but that wasn't anything I did good or bad, other than maybe how fast I threw them. So there is another example of completely random that I thought was okay. Another funny one here, the kiss of death. One more time. They're going to hit a little bit there, but watch this. Right at the end, boom, kiss of death. What's it going to be? You guessed it, a 7. Every time they kiss, it comes out a 7, doesn't it? But that's a disastrous thing. You can see the die. It doesn't matter. It was a bad throw anyway, but it's just funny to watch how a little tiny touch of those 2 cubes sends them just... that they're worth, the dice themselves are worse than the back wall. Honest to God, when they kiss like that, that thing spun more rotations than it did off the back wall. Interesting stuff. Here's another one. Look at this kiss of death. You can hear this one. This is loud. Boom. It just, whatever spin it had is gone. Whatever I did to it stops the minute they touch. It just goes to something different. We got lucky there with the hard 6, but man, when they hit, it is a train wreck. All right, here's another one coming off the white dice side now. And again, this one looks like an okay result at the end. Good energy control here, but no spin. The spin had nothing to do with it. This one here, I think, is more about, we talk about hitting the back wall nice and soft or under some kind of, look at that, they both barely kiss it. So you get this nice energy off the back wall, but they were spinning so cattywampus that there's no way to tell what happened here. I saw a 1 and a 5. I'm like, cool, got my 1. That 1 on the left literally had nothing to do with my throw. That 1 was complete happenstance. You can look at that thing right there. There's every other face. Every other face is showing on that die. There's the 1. You'll see there's the 3 coming into it. It's just a mess. So yeah, that one, got lucky on that one. Just again, it goes to show you a good looking result is not always a good looking throw. And that was a completely randomly lucky result by this throw. All right, this one's interesting. This is going to be not an illegal shot. It probably gets yelled at because I don't think the die hits the back wall here, but I want you to watch the action on the right side. This is going to be the white dice. This is the slower, lower shot. It's more of a skip. This is more of a frisbee skip style throw that I'm looking for on the right, on this with the white dice here. This is more of a low, faster spin, skip off the deck, hit the back wall after a second hit. Watch these dice. Watch the one that's on the 1 almost the entire way. Here we go. Check this one out. This is pretty cool. Watch the one on the right. If the 1 is up, the 1 is up, the 1 is up, the 1 is up. At the last second, it rolls over to the 6, right? But that thing stayed spinning and just barely touches the back wall. That's a legal shot. It's not a slide shot because they're off the ground, obviously. But yeah, that is like, if you could draw the shot on a pen and paper, that's what you would probably draw, right? Even the other die, the one on the left also is spinning the whole way. They're both like the ones up the entire way. The last second, that's a great shot right there. That's actually as close to perfect as you can get it. That's the shot that gives me hope. I look at that shot and say, I can do this. This is the one that says keep practicing. Because if you can do that on the regular, keep practicing. That's the reason why I work on the shot so hard. Well, there is some interesting results. I know both sides of the camp here can look at those throws and make some determinations, right? One is most throws are purely random. If you're a controlled shooter, right? And I think that this spinner toss has some merit to it, right? You can see there are good ones where that thing stays spinning and the spin rate helps it stop. The spin rate helps control the bounce. The spin rate stays in play most of the time. You can see that when I get it right, it's right. It's really freaking good. That gives me the reason to practice, like I said during the show. It makes me want to keep going, right? I know that it's possible to have some influence over these dice. Now, how often is that? What you saw there, I think I broke down about 10 throws. I took about 40 shots. It takes a while to do this, right? So out of about 40 shots or so, I cherry picked about 15 of them that were interesting. The rest of them are kind of, varying degrees of keeping the spin right or being completely disastrous. But I wanted to show some of the dice hitting. I wanted to show some of the more perfect shots. The thing of it is, maybe 10% of my throws were what I would call perfect or under control, meaning the spin did its job, right? They spun them good. They landed flat. They kept spinning into the wall. They kept spinning off the diamonds and landed, and then we had to have our little prayer session, right? About 10% of the time I can get that to work, which gives me the reason and the impetus and the desire to practice. That's why I know 10% of the time it looks like it's damn good. It's worth my effort, right? So can I impart influence on the dice? Sometimes, yes. The physics of this throw to me have merit. When I see it in slow motion, although most of the shots are a train wreck, there are enough that give me hope that say, well, if I'm 10% of the time not random and 90% of the time I'm random, I'm better than you. That's the reason why I practice. And these kind of shots give me that hope. The rest of them, you can see what random looks like, even on what looks like a really good shot. Super slow, like no energy, barely touches the back wall. It's still a disaster. It's still random result, right? And if it rolls over 5 times or 100 times, it's the same. It's random either way, right? But it's interesting to see that even on a good one, sometimes it's not that good, right? And you can see the bad ones. The bad ones are a disaster. When they kiss, forget about it. When the dice kiss, it's worse than the back wall. When they touch even a little bit, boy, that one die just goes completely haywire. So if you're going to practice throwing, that might be the one thing I would caution you at the most of all to avoid is them touching. because you can see with them touching, just it takes them completely off of whatever axis you thought you had, gone. So anyway, hope that was fun. That was a fun episode to film. I wish I had more time to get more shots, to get more selection, to give you some different views of it. But there's a good mix there of train wreck, goodness, and disaster, and random. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you live in a future episode of Coffee and Craps. This is John from ProCraps. Thanks for your time today. God bless you and have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.